Exactly, guys. Fang Leone 130W2D, the second version of Leone. Man, this bay is amazing. I think it's really interesting. It has some flaws, obviously, but there are way more pros than cons, and we're going to analyze it piece by piece. But before that, let's take a look at our little box here. Well, zooming in here, we can see a bit more of the details on the box, which you guys know I absolutely love. Here we have a bit of the print of our Leone, right? The Leone icon. And here, the design, right, of the constellation. Well, not really the design, actually. It's the representation of the Leo constellation. On the side, we have our blader Kyoya, who finally gets a new design. He went through 2 seasons with the same outfit, but here he's already got a visual rebranding, making him wilder than ever, right? Up here at the top, we have the Takara Tomy logo. Here it says it's from the 4D system, that it spins to the right, and it's a defense type B. Taking a look at the back, we can see a bit more of the parts that make up our Fang Leone, and here it talks a little about its 2 modes, right? Which we'll be explaining during the review. Actually, I was going to say unboxing, but anyway, it's a review, and here are our parts. One problem, in my opinion, with our Leone is that it doesn't come with the 4D tip. It comes with a track and a regular standard tip like this. I know its tip is different, only it has this tip, or rather, this tip was introduced with it, but it doesn't have a 4D tip. I think it would be much cooler, in my opinion, but that's okay. And well, as you know, this isn't going to be an unboxing, but a review, because I've already taken this little product out of the box. Let's analyze it piece by piece and understand a bit more about our Fang Leone. Okay, here we have our 5 pieces, right? The 5 components that make up our Fang Leone. So let's start, obviously, with our little screw, which is Leone's face bolt. Let's go. Man, zooming in here on our Leone face bolt, we can see its details, and you can already notice some of the differences between Leone Thegime and Leone Second. And the first difference we can see here is precisely the addition of the lion's paw. When we look at its previous version, it doesn't have the little paw, and where the paw is now, there used to be the word Leo written, which was, you know, the abbreviation for Leone. Anyway, here they removed that abbreviation and added the paw. Actually, all the bays that were introduced here in the Metal Fury Saga don't have abbreviations, but even so, I think this addition of the paw is really cool. And there's an interesting detail, which is this star here. It's not there randomly, okay? It actually represents the brightest star in terms of light in the Leo constellation, which is the star Regulus. Pretty cool, right? Right after that, we have here Leone's clear rail. And when you look at it, you might say, man, it looks a lot like the clear rail from the basic Leone, right? From Leone the One, from Rock Leone. Because you see, it has the same concept of these protective parts, which are basically meant to absorb contact. But the difference is that it adds these little contacts here, kind of like screws, right? When you look at it against the light, you can see it better. This isn't present in the base Leone version, only here in Fang Leone's. They added this feature. But these claws here, which would be Leone's defensive part, are still very similar to the Leone Y version. But the other distinguishing feature besides that is obviously the color, because now it's a darker green, while the other one was more of an aqua green or aqua blue. Well, it depends on what you call it. And we can see that they still kept the concept of the stickers, right? Textured with the army pattern that Leone has always had. I think that's really cool. And of course, since it's from the 4D system, it's also made with iron powder. Look, you can see the metal particles inside the clear rail really well here. This is precisely to add more weight to this part, which means more centralization and therefore more resistance, which is really good, especially since it's a defense type B. So it will be able to stay more centered and a bit heavier, which is really great for this. Coming back here with our Fang fusion wheel, it's made up of 2 parts. Unlike the Big Bang Pegasus, which had 3, the Fang Leone has only 2, the metal frame and the core, which is the heart of our fusion wheel. So what's the difference here? Our Fang Leone offers us 2 types of configurations. Its base configuration is when we leave this part, this here, facing downwards. In other words, it stays in a more defensive system, where its thick metal parts are turned down, positioned like a barrier. This basically allows it to defend itself better, since this is its defense mode and it absorbs impacts well. A fusion wheel that's very, very heavy and also highly resistant to hits. It can withstand a lot and absorb the opponent's hits very well, which is really cool. Not to mention the design of the stickers here, with the army print that adds even more charm to our Fang. And then we have the other mode to make this bay even more complete and versatile, which is its attack mode. You take this metal, which is the metal frame, flip it upwards, and just fit it back where it was attached. And you can already notice the difference when you look at it from above, right? It gets kind of hollow in this part. Empty hollow anyway. I don't know, what's the word I could use? And it's interesting that there are these little metal pieces here, right? These little metal pieces are like the lion's claws sticking out, right? To give it that aggressive visual concept. It's well represented here, which is cool. This concept they brought in to represent the lion's claws. When we look from the side, we can already see the difference. Instead of that metal being angled downward, it's actually facing upward. This makes it so the bay can hit more. And like, it's not literally a fusion wheel for attack, right? Because it doesn't have uppers or smash or anything like that. Actually, it's more of a counterattack than, in a way, a true offensive attack mode, you know? This mode of Leone is more focused on making counterattacks. Right after that, we have our 130 spin track here, a pretty basic spin track that we've already seen countless times on the channel and also on previous bays. It's a medium spin track, not one of the tallest or the shortest. It's meant to make our Leone more balanced, right in the middle. I don't think Leone is that tall when he's using this track. In fact, it's actually good that he's not so tall since he's a defense bay, and defense bays can't be, well, their weakness, whether we like it or not, is being easily destabilized. And in the case of Fang Leone, since it has a mid-height track, it's still a bit low. It protects itself well against attack bays that try to hit from underneath, so it's actually a pretty good height. And finally, we have its tip, which is called W2D. It's very similar to the wide defense tip that we've already seen on Earth Eagle and several other bays that have this stamina tip, because the defense tips in the Beyblade Metal Fight Saga are generally rounded, but here it's not rounded. This is a stamina tip. And the coolest thing about this tip, which actually sets it apart from the standard wide defense, is that it has a ridge, as you can see, almost like a halo before the pointed part of the tip. See this little part here? This actually helps it have a bit of a life after death, giving it an extra spin when it's about to stop spinning. You know that moment when your bee is about to stop and in its last spin, it makes one more rotation than your opponent's? That's exactly what it is, and it's called life after death, okay? This tip, because it's much thinner, this more pointed part is a bit thinner than the wide defenses, ends up wearing out faster, which causes the tip to wear down and take on a more aggressive movement pattern. So over time, Leone stops being such a stable defensive bay and becomes a bit more aggressive. And then it's actually cool to try out the other mode of its fusion wheel, which is the counterattack mode. So that's something interesting to check out. All right, with the parts lined up here, let's assemble our Fang Leone. So let's grab our Fang fusion wheel and the clear wheel, of course. Take the clear wheel here and place it on this part, horizontally or vertically actually. Anyway, just fit it in here. All right, now we flip this, grab the track, always making sure to align it with the design here, right? The hexagonal pattern. These hexagonal parts here, fit them in here. So let's grab our screw, give it a little twist by hand just to hold everything together, right? And just use your fingers to hold the tip and fit it in. Then we take the tool, give it a final tighten, and finally screw in the face bolt. Done. And here is the second version of Leone, known as Fang Leone, the legendary bay with its 130 track and W2D tip. I think this bay looks really nice. I'm a bit sad they didn't add a 4D tip. I think it would be a lot cooler, you know, to have a 4D tip focused on defense for the 4D system. But anyway, they created a new tip here, introduced here, this W2D tip, and I find this halo concept interesting. Halo, right? Anyway, to bring the left of the dead, it gives more spin, gives more stamina to the bay, and brings us more victories, since this really helps a lot, man. Those of you who use Longinus must know, Longinus is famous for this, right? Its tip has that special bearing that brings the left of the dead, which makes it win a lot of battles. I think it's cool when bays bring this concept, and here we have it in this tip. As you can see, it's not a very tall bay. Look, it's actually pretty short, though not extremely so. And when we look at it from the side like this, we can see that it's not such a tall bee, you know? It's kind of in the middle, but I actually consider it a bit short, and that's really good because it protects against bays that hit from below, you know, which would destabilize it. So it's really cool because it ends up being well protected. I think this bee is really tough. It's one of the best defense types released this season, and I want to understand it a bit more in practice, you know, because in theory, everything sounds great, but in practice, it's a whole different story. So let's go ahead and do the battle tests. But before that, I want to ask you all for something. I want to ask you to leave a like and subscribe down below, man. And when you do that, it motivates me to bring more videos and especially become a member. By becoming a member, you help the channel keep going so I can bring more special products like this and more videos like this one too. Anyway, let's go do the battle test and see our legendary lion roaring into action. All right, guys, let's do the battle test here with our Fang Leone, and I already want to test it against Dark Bull, which is Benki's Bay, Kyuya's right-hand man. So it's going to be interesting to see this battle between balance and defense. Shall we? Okay, I'll start by spinning Fang Leone here so we can see how it performs in action. I launched Fang Leone really straight, and I'm also going to launch Dark Bull straight so I don't mess up its track. A more centralized battle, but for some reason, something already triggered that made Fang Leone go crazy, man. What's going on? This, by the way, is a pattern that sometimes happens with Leone's tip, right? This wide tilt defense it has, depending on how it makes contact in the arena, man, can make it act like this, like a madman. And that compromises its stamina, as we can see. Look, its stamina went down the drain, man. It went down the drain and lost to Dark Bull. Wow, it just took one little hit and totally lost control, man. Victory here for Dark Bull, man. The win went to Dark Bull, but I'm gonna do one more just so you guys can really see how it works. Let's go. Dark Bull spinning now, and now Rock Leone. Let's go. Even if Fang Leone wins here, I won't count it because the win really went to Bull in that last one. I just want to show what it's like if you don't activate that tip on Fang Leone, which is its weak point. Look, now it's more centered, it's more stable, just like Leone is supposed to be. A Bey that controls the center of the arena, a central colossus that doesn't let anything happen. Check this out. Hey, look at that nice recoil. Dark Bull landed an attack with its cute little horn, but it got a nice recoil, leaving it completely stable and finishing off Bull. Too bad that battle didn't count, right? But I wanted to show you guys anyway. Well, the next battle here is another legendary one, but this time with the previous version of Sagittario. That is, Flash Sagittario versus our Fang Leone, a stamina type Bey against a defense type. Let's go. So let's launch Sagittario here, launch it nice and straight so it doesn't get compromised, and launch Fang Leone straight as well. Alright, let's see who will fight for the center here, right? In theory, Sagittario should, but Fang Leone is so solid that I believe it'll stay in the center longer than Sagittario. Look. Or maybe not, right? Both of them are really fighting hard to see who dominates the center here. Look, Leone is managing to hold its ground more, huh? It's not letting Sagittario take over thanks to its weight, and that affects the Bey's gravity, right? Its center of gravity. But Sagittario managed it now, look. It was quicker on the recoil. I mean, its recoil was faster here, but the defense, that wall of the Fang fusion wheel is so solid, man, that Sagittario just couldn't handle it. It kept going, cutting down Sagittario until it lost its stamina and gave the victory to our lion, the king of the jungle, Fang Leone. Look, a battle I want to do here is against Rock Scorpion, which is a defense-type Bey, and I wanted to test it precisely because Rock Scorpion, for me, is one of the best defense-type Beys in the Metal Fusion system, and I want to see how the Scorpion's venom fares against the savagery of the Lion King. Shall we go for it? Let's launch Fang Leone nice and straight, and now Rock Scorpion, also nice and straight. A defense versus defense battle here, but I want to see how this one goes because Rock Scorpion has that tip design, which gives it a different kind of friction, right? It makes it really aggressive, as you can see. Both are colliding really well. The attacks are strong and powerful, and Rock Scorpion is draining the stamina, poisoning Fang Leone and bringing the victory to itself. That's why I say Rock Scorpion is one of the strongest defense-type Beys from the first season. And not just from the first season, but overall, man. Look at that. It destroyed Fang Leone, man. It was no match. It poisoned the little lion. Now, I want to do a battle test here between two versions of Leone. Rock Leone versus Fang Leone. Let's see how these two Beys perform and finally settle which version is better, the first or the second, shall we? So let's start by spinning Rock Leone first, really straight so it doesn't get compromised. Fang Leone too. Both have already activated, they've gone right at each other. And let's see who can take the center more. Keep those. Wow, what a beautiful hit. Fang Leone managed to recover, but Rock Leone is perfect, extremely solid. Look at what a smart battle this is. See how they study each other, block each other's attacks, and bring those counterattacks, which is Leone's trademark, right? Ever since Rock, and also here with our Fang. But man, I think when it comes to stamina-wise, Rock Leone takes it, man. Its rounded tip is really good. What did I say? The rounded tip of Leone is the charm of this Leone. If we take this tip and put it on Fang Leone, it would become Fang Leone, man, because this tip is really good. This ball tip, it's even a bit dirty here, look. So here we see that Fang Leone gets beaten by Rock Leone, man. What a beautiful thing. A really solid battle, and in the end, you could see how Rock Leone is still an amazing Bey, right? Without all the glamour that Fang has, it still managed to be better than Fang, really fulfilling its defensive role, man. What a beautiful thing. And to wrap up this video, let's have a legendary battle. The first 4G system battle happening here on this channel between the two most iconic Beys of the series. Fang Leone from Kyoya versus Big Bang Pegasus from Ginka, which were the first two Beys of the 4G system to appear in the series. Let's go. Alright, let's launch Fang Leone first since it's a defense type, and launch Big Bang Pegasus at a slight angle to start attacking. There it goes. It already started hitting like crazy. But Fang Leone managed to stabilize, staying really steady in the arena. Big Bang Pegasus is in its stamina mode. It hasn't activated Final Drive yet. Wait, it activated. Now it's activated. Now it's activated, but even so, it's losing stamina. Fang Leone is going to win. Fang Leone won, guys. Fang Leone won here by Left of the Dead. Look how beautiful that is, guys. Beautiful. But since it's the last battle, I'm going to do best of 3. 1-0 for Fang Leone. Let's do one more to see who really wins the battle, or if it ends in a tie. Shall we? Launching Fang Leone first, and now Big Bang Pegasus tilted to come in hitting right away. Okay. Wow, man, what a beautiful hit from Big Bang Pegasus. Fang Leone couldn't even recover, man. It just took one hit and it was over. What was that, man? What a beast. Well, it's 1-1. Now let's finish this one. Let's launch Fang Leone first again since it's a defense type, and now use Big Bang Pegasus tilted. Wow. Guys, what was that? Man, Pegasus destroyed Leone, and I launched Leone really well, man. What was that? That's the power of being the protagonist. Big Bang Pegasus crushed it, but it proved to be a pretty solid bay in the other battles, right? Because Pegasus here, man, just destroyed it, dude. Credit to the man. But that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed these battle tests with this beast here, the king of the jungle, Fang Leone. Man, I love the battle tests we did here. The battles were really cool, especially this last one, so it definitely deserves your like and for you to subscribe down below, all right? So I'll see you next time with another video. We're in this together, and let it rip.